O'clock, so I'm going to call this meeting to order, and we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so we have a couple of announcements tonight. The Grafton's Community Emergency Response Team, commonly known as the CERTs, will be hosting a series of courses for those interested in joining the team. The first class will be on June 28th at 7 p.m. at the Grafton Police Station. For more information, visit our website at www.grafton-ma.gov or contact Director Kathy Cedarberg at 508-826-0740. And on June 30th at 7 p.m. at Station 1, we'll be doing a pinning ceremony for our new Fire Chief, Mr. Eric Matthew. So if anybody's interested in attending that, that'll be happening. So it'll be a really fun event. And the first thing on the schedule is the annual appointments. The way it's going to work is very much like it's listed in the packet. We're going to just go in order on there. Everybody will come up. You'll have 2 minutes to speak. We're going to start with just the election officials first because they are exempt. We'll just do that really quickly, and I can take a motion with the inclusion of Darlene Orn, which was accidentally left off the list.
We're going to go through and read all the names as we did for the
or as presented.
Resignations. Okay. I move the board vote to approve the election officials plus Darlene Orn, who was accidentally left off the list, for a 1-year term.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I declare the motion carried. Okay, so first up we have the Community Preservation Committee, Ken Holberger. How are you?
Okay, can you hear me? So I'm here to express my interest in being reappointed for another term on the Community Preservation Committee. Having been a member of the committee since 2003, I strongly support its 4 missions. I've got deep institutional knowledge of the CPA and the committee, and I always try to pass that knowledge on to new members. As treasurer, I've reliably kept the committee informed of its financial status and opportunities, and I've continuously improved the committee's financial reports for accuracy and understandability. I've added charts that illustrate annual trends and prepared analyses to predict the committee's ability to finance any proposed large grants with bond issues. I learned CPA accounting requirements from Tricia Fay, the town accountant serving when the CPA was first adopted. Since then, I've trained 2 new town accountants and an interim accounting firm accountant on CPA accounting processes, preventing numerous potential errors and guiding the correction of many errors that I discovered after they occurred. I've led the committee's 2 large bond issues. That's the Grafton, the townhouse and the Pill Farm. And I understand how they work, and I can readily analyze any future bond requirements for feasibility and prudence. Also, being a director on the board of the Grafton Land Trust, I act as a liaison with the Land Trust to help facilitate the constructive coordination of town and land trust conservation efforts. The Land Trust has twice contributed funds to town open space purchases and often accepts the responsibility of holding conservation restrictions on CPA open space purchases. I've consistently supported all of the missions of the CPA. In addition to open space and recreation, I've been a strong supporter of restoring the town's center historic district, including the Grafton Townhouse and the Grafton Common. It's been my desire to restore them to a condition such that the town can enjoy and be proud of them for the next 100 years. I helped coordinate the efforts by the town and the land trust that will acquire 38 new affordable housing units and conserve valuable open space in the current Pleasant Street and Upton Street developments at no expense to the town. I've also recommended generally several times over the years, and specifically recently, that the Affordable Housing Trust request funding grants beyond their customary 10% of CPA revenue to build up their funds. And specifically, I've recommended that the Affordable Housing Trust request a $250,000 grant in the current October CPA funding cycle. For these reasons, I'm pleased to serve another term as an at-large member of the town's Community Preservation Committee.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions?
Nope.
I do.
Yes.
Ken, what would the process be if you needed to step down as treasurer? Because I know that's a concern.
Well, the committee would have to choose another treasurer, and I would attempt to brief them on the system that, the reporting systems and the various spreadsheets that support it.
Okay. How much time do you need to do that?
It would probably take a couple of sessions.
Okay.
It depends on who takes over.
All right. Thanks.
I do have one question. How
Yes.
many years have you been on the Grafton Land Trust?
Well, since 2003, so that's
So it's the same amount of
18.
time you've been on CPC. It's the same amount of time you've been on CPC. You've been on the Grafton.
on the land trust.
Yeah, so 19
no,
years on CPC.
a little longer
but-
than that.
Okay, so, all right. Perfect. Thank you. All right, up next we have Eric Swenson.
All right. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Thank you for hosting me today. Appreciate it. Thank you for entertaining my application to the CPC. In terms of the case for appointing me to the CPC, I do have a decent amount of experience volunteering in Grafton local government, with several years on the Finance Committee, which is responsible for oversight capabilities over CPA funding recommendations to the town meeting. I'm also a current member of the Economic Development Commission, as well as the Affordable Housing Trust. With my time on the Affordable Housing Trust, I've become familiar with the CPA itself, how the trust works with the CPC and town meeting in conjunction. And during my time on various committees in town, I feel, I have created a good working relationship with other board members, committee members, etc. I try to carry myself as professionally as possible. And then in terms of the perspective that I'll bring to the CPC itself, I view the responsibilities of each CPC member very seriously. And in many regards, the duties, in addition to, performing the due diligence analysis of proposed projects from citizens or other boards and committees, is really adhering to the intent in the letter of the act itself. Many times I don't believe there's really any space for opinion. And specifically, I would bring a perspective of, coming from, I live in South Grafton. I don't think there's a lot of representation on the CPC right now from residents of that area of town. And, my intent would be just to do the best job I can, provide fair treatment to every single applicant, no matter who they are, what committee or board they may be representing. I feel I would bring, a newer, fresher perspective to the CPC, to the committee. I've been in town for a little over 5 years now, so bringing that perspective could be valuable. And really just looking to provide reasoned recommendations to town meeting, because that is the ultimate biggest value that I believe CPC can bring to the town, is doing the analysis of the projects that have been proposed, making reasoned recommendations to town meeting, which then votes on whether to allocate CPA funds for those purposes. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, wait, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, how long were you on the finance committee?
Just over 2 years.
Okay, and so like, did you pick up a term, or I just wasn't sure if it was like did you hop in on a term? Or?
Yeah, I had a baby in May of 21, and I was doing EDC at the same time and the trust, and FinCom is probably one of the most demanding committees in terms of time, so I didn't feel at that time that I was doing the town justice by staying on, so I resigned early in order to allow them to put somebody on that would be able to dedicate the required time.
Okay, and you joined the Affordable Housing Trust how long ago?
2020, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah, in
thanks.
August.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Great, so we're gonna, there's one seat available on the community preservation for an at-large member, and we had 2 applicants, so I can take a motion and we can discuss it.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Eric Swenson to the CPC.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, okay, and let's have a discussion about it.
Do you want to go?
Nope.
Happy to go. This is really difficult, obviously. We've got a long time, seasoned member that is in a pretty key position. And I really value the work that Ken's done over the years, for sure. We also have Mr. Swenson, who's got, he's newer to town. He's from a kind of, South Grafton. He's got some experience, but not, nearly the kind of experience that Mr. Holberger does. For me, I think I was really moved by some of the commentary that I heard from, particularly from Paul Scarlett, in discussing the Affordable Housing Trust seat on CPC at both the town meeting and in their own meeting. And a lot of the commentary was along the lines of we need like general community participation in CPC. So we don't have an opportunity to really do that. Sort of the person that's on CPC currently that is a general community member, in my opinion, is sort of Rich Whitney. But I think I'd advocate that the direction of travel should be in alignment with some of that commentary and also the commentary that we got from the state, which is those at-large members should be general community members and not sort of institutional positions. And so I think it's actually important for this board to consider Mr. Swenson's application as somebody who's new to town, who's younger, who's got some experience. So I think he'll be effective in, understanding the responsibilities, and he's got some relationship to how boards and committees work. And also, it's a way for us to kind of further one of our stated goals, which is to support the Affordable Housing Trust. So I'm in favor of Mr. Swenson.
Anybody else have anything they want to add?
Yeah, can I make a statement towards Ken? I did reach out, for what it's worth, to Stuart, and who's the executive director of the Community Preservation Coalition in Boston, just to get some feedback in terms of Ken, and I'm speaking in favor of reappointing Ken. And just to highlight, so that the rest of the board knows, the feeling for this gentleman, not only in town but at the state level, is that, I can quote him, that Ken is top notch, and a big part of that credit, Grafton, the Grafton CPC is top notch, and a big part of that credit goes to Ken. He also additionally said, I dare say that he is one of the leading experts in the state in CPA finances. So I just feel it would be a tremendous loss for us not to reappoint Ken.
I'm gonna echo what Matt was saying. I heard loud and clear that CPC was saying that they didn't want to give up an at-large seat because they wanted community participation. And when an at-large seat stays with one person for almost 20 years, it doesn't, contribute to community participation. And that's why I support having Eric this time. He's come now twice to try to get on, and this is how you get on it through the at-large, or maybe getting on another committee that way. But all right, so motion made and seconded. Any discussion left? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, declare the motion carried. All right, so Eric, I'm gonna have you head down to the town clerk's office because she's swearing people in tonight. Okay? All right, up next is the Affordable Housing Trust, Bruce Spinney. Yeah.
2 minutes?
2 minutes.
Your wife's not here tonight.
No.
So do you want me to time it?
No, that's fine.
Go.
My name is Bruce Spinney. Thank you for recommending me, or not recommending, but allowing me the opportunity to get reappointed to the Affordable Housing Trust. As many of you know, I've been on the trust for some time now. There are a few projects they're currently working on. I felt that none of those projects were close enough to finality for me to leave. So it's a 2-year seat. I think we'll be able to get most of those projects to the point where they are either complete or have a shovel in the ground by the time my next term is up. I will take this time to ask that we had a lot of turnover on the trust over the past couple of years, and in so doing, I'm the only one up this year. They're all spaced over 2. The rest of the trust will be up next year. So, when we're figuring out how to approach it next year, or if somebody gets off during the middle of the year, perhaps it's, we can stagger a couple of those terms. Where it's difficult is when we're, acting on our own behalf and we have the discretion we do for the funding sources that we have available to us when we enter into one of these big projects. Making sure we have some stability and some continuity over the lifespan of the projects, especially in development projects, which take a few years. And a lot of times greater than 2 years. So we're statutorily required to be at 2 years, but if we staggered it so we had some expertise moving from one reappointment schedule to the next. That's it. Does anybody have any questions for me?
How long have you been on the Affordable Housing Trust?
To be honest, I don't know. There was a space in between. I was off it for a couple of years. I would say in total, probably 6 years. I think I got on when I was first on the planning board, perhaps. I don't know. After about 15, it all kind of blurs together. But this last stint, I've been on for about 3 years.
And this might not be specific to you, and not to your appointment. So how did that happen that all of the other seats are coming due at once and there's only one?
There was a lot of turnover, so a lot of folks resigned.
It just so happened how they all
Intermittent,
fell. Okay.
Yeah, so we had a big turnover last year, and so we're finally at a point where we always have a quorum. We have actively engaged members, and the work's been spread out over all the members. It's actually it's like a well-oiled machine now. It's great. Years past is, we had difficulty getting a quorum together, so we could have an active schedule. So
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Right.
Talk
Okay.
about a Barnes, anything, nothing else.
Not,
All right,
not tonight. We'll skip the Barnes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So these are all, going forward, are uncontested appointments, so I can take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Bruce Spinney to Affordable Housing Trust.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. So Bruce, have you head down to the town clerks because she's trying to do it all tonight. Thank you. All right, Board of Cemetery Commissioners, we have Robert Collette. Is he possibly on Zoom?
I don't see him.
I do not see him on Zoom.
Okay, how about Christopher Roney? How are you?
Good evening. I'm Chris Roney. I've been on the cemetery commissioners since shortly after my dad's passing in 2017, and felt compelled to take the seat when it was available, just to be a steward for cemeteries here in town, along with the board members that serve with me. It's a privilege to do it. People spend some of the most difficult time in their life at these places that are kind of not thought about as you drive through town. So we try to keep them available, accessible, well-maintained, give people a quiet place to do what they have to. My professional career as a funeral director gives me an opportunity to see what other cities and towns do as far as how they run cemeteries, which gives me good context to how we maintain and run ours, which I think is helpful, and I'm interested to continue doing the work with the board.
Very nice. Any questions? No? All right. Well, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for coming in.
Appreciate it.
And then, as soon as we're done, if you could head down to the town. So is Mr. Collette on Zoom at all now?
I do not see him on Zoom.
So last year, the way it worked is some people that didn't show up were appointed and then weren't interested in the seat. So, for tonight's motion, if we can just accept Christopher Roney's application, and we'll reach out to Mr. Collette and maybe have him come a different night or make his appointment a different night. If that's okay with everybody on the board.
Yep.
All right.
Madam
So-
Chair?
Yes.
I move to appoint Chris Roney to Board of Cemetery Commissioners.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, declare the motion carried.
Thanks.
Next up is Board of Health, and we have Dan Finn.
Hi, folks.
How are you?
Just fine. And I don't have anything officially prepared here. It's just to mention that I've been on various boards for about 25 years. And I've been an active member of the Grafton Medical Reserve since its inception. And I'm interested in reapplying for the 3-year term of Board of Health. For the first 2 years of the past 4 years that I've been on, it was relatively light lifting, as they say, and then all of a sudden it became almost a part-time job. But I've enjoyed it, and I think I can continue to help out. And I think I have to say, I think we as a board and as a town are lucky to have had 5 folks that are professionals and committed. I don't know how many people know, but Karen GG, as I call her, she got her degree in epidemiology, and who knew how important that was going to be. And Austin is a environmental scientist. Jen is a registered nurse. Dr. Muller not only is a retired physician, he's also been an educator for 40-something years. And of course, I'm a pharmacist and have chipped in as much as I can.
Very nice. Any questions for Mr. Finn?
Nope, just comment. Thank you so much. I'm so deeply in gratitude of the work that you guys have been doing over the past couple of years. I know it has not been easy. I know sometimes you need to make some difficult, sometimes controversial decisions, and from what I can see, you guys have really stood up and
Yep.
and
You're
served
welcome.
Grafton well.
Yep, it's been our pleasure, I think, and again, everybody's been quite focused, and we get along congenially or collaboratively, and I think it's a good team. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dr. William Muller. Muller?
I didn't come with prepared remarks, but you know.
Okay.
I'm Bill Muller. I'm a retired general internist. I spent 40 years at a community health center in Uxbridge that's part of the UMass Memorial Healthcare System. Also was vice president of Milford Hospital. I assumed a vacancy on the Board of Health 2 years ago. And this is my first full-term appointment. I've lived in town for 41 years. Of course, that's relatively recent compared to Dan, but
A little bit.
it has been a challenging year for the Board of Health. I had not previously had much time to devote to things like the town and so forth, and this has given me an opportunity to get a little bit more involved. So I don't have much more to say.
Well, thank
It
you.
has been a challenging year, though.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
I'll just echo the same comments. Thank you all for, making recommendations and providing guidance based on data and science. And, I just have nothing but great things to say about the work you guys have done. So thank you so much.
And for coming back after the last couple
Yeah.
of
I know.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, well,
He's volunteering again.
Yeah.
Crazy.
there you go.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, so I can take a motion. There were 2 seats and 2 applicants.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Dan Finn and Bill Muller to the Board of Health.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. All right, if you gentlemen don't mind heading down to the town clerk's office and getting sworn in, that would be wonderful. And then tonight we have the Cable TV Oversight Committee, Mr. Bob Berger.
He's with us on Zoom.
Wonderful.
And Bob, you should be able to talk now.
Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, good. Okay, my name is Bob Berger. I think I've been on the committee for 10 years, maybe 15 years. It just all meshes into one. I think I have some more work to do. I like the part of being in the AV club, so I'm asking to be reappointed.
AV Club, that's good.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Berger? All right, thank you very much for coming in, Bob.
My pleasure.
All right, up next is Mr. DeToma.
Hello?
How are you?
Doing well. Yes, please. I'd like to be reappointed to Cable Oversight Committee. Been a member of the committee since 2008, I believe. And in that time, I have been chair, vice chair, and I'm currently the clerk. And there has been a lot of exciting change that's taken place in that amount of time. And there's a lot of more change coming. So that's it for my statement. I think everybody knows what I do. So,
All right.
questions?
Any questions?
Questions?
All right, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Bob.
And then we have Mr. Jim Gallagher.
Thank you. I just want to be on camera.
That sounds like something Jim would say.
My name is Jim Gallagher. I did not get the memo about being dressed up. So I am the shabby member of the Cable Oversight Committee. I currently chair the committee of wonderful people, truly wonderful people that work hard. Bob DeToma, Bob Berger, right at the head of the class, do a wonderful job contracting. And I'm just going to spend my time talking about the jobs that they do. Bob DeToma during the elections, doing the interviews and things like that. We're very fortunate to have so many dedicated people to make information about the town available on the cable channel. We even have some entertainment coming up later this summer. Something about a pole dancer in the senior center. I don't know what it is. I think it's a documentary. I don't know. It's either that or TV classics with Jim.
Are you just trying to get a quote in the paper here, or what?
Oh. See what happens. Any questions?
I'm scared to ask any questions. All right.
All right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. All right, up next is Mr. Hassinger. Is he on Zoom?
He's with us on Zoom.
Wonderful.
And if he unmutes, he will be allowed to talk.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hey, Bob. Yep.
Hi. I didn't prepare any particular comments. I think many of you know me, and some of you know that I've been on the cable committee since it was created in '84. I've led or helped lead from practically nothing to where we are now. I hate to say I really like to say we. If anybody has any questions, please let me know.
All right, thank you. Any questions? No? All right. Thank you very much, Bob. Up next is Lisa Kelly, who has signaled that she is no longer seeking reappointment, so we will pass over to Carson Wyman.
Actually, it's Corson.
Oh, Corson. I'm
Not, no way.
my old lady eyes.
C-O-R,
Apologize.
S-O-N. All right. Again, I didn't get the dress memo. I'm probably the brightest part of the group. Anyway, I've been on the Cable Oversight Committee, I'm going to see 1985 or 86. Bob Hassinger can probably correct me on that. I took the second class that was ever introduced to the town for learning about the whole thing. And I'd say that over time, which is really quite remarkable where we were to where we are today, we've really taken a lot of the funds which are basically collected, not from taxpayers, but from those that are basically having their cable services. And we've been able to utilize this fund, for which we're basically dictating how it should be spent from time to time, to do more than just the benefit of cable services, but for things such as the fiber optic network the town has. This room, the conference room, what we have. Many things that we have benefited the town, not just from cable services or what we do in the studio. So I think in the long run, we've been very careful about what we spend the money on, very conscious about what the additional benefits are going to be associated with it. And we just want to continue doing the same wonderful work we've been doing year after year after year. And I think that the presence of Bob Hassinger and myself, I think we're kind of like the conservative side as opposed to the others. And it's a good balance, I think, of the whole group, because you get to hear the two sides of the whole story and you get a camaraderie of the whole thing that comes to a conclusion as to what works. And that's what matters.
Thank you.
Nothing prepared, sorry.
Any questions? No? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks
Great.
so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so those are all the interested parties for the Cable TV Oversight Committee. Again, these are uncontested seats, so I can take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Bob Berger, Bob DeToma, Jim Gallagher, Robert Hassinger, and Corson Wyman to the Cable TV Oversight Committee.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Here. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Declare the motion carried. All right, if you guys don't mind, the people who are in person to please head down to the town clerk's office to get sworn in. That would be wonderful. Up next is the Conservation Committee. Do we have Sandra Brock?
I get the most casual. Sorry. I was actually going to try to do it online, but I was having problems. I'm Sandy Brock. I've been on the Conservation Commission for more than 5, maybe more than 10. I don't quite remember. And I'm looking just to continue. I'm a civil engineer with over 30 years of experience. I bring a lot of experience to the committee, and unless anyone has any specific questions, happy to answer them.
Any questions? No? All right, thanks for coming in.
Do I get the...
Well, I haven't seen all the outfits yet, so I have to...
Oh, we're rating everything.
Yeah. I like that. That's... Okay. Elizabeth Doherty?
So before I start, I want to just respectfully say, as someone who's had to enforce EEO policy, I would ask the select board in the future, as they're considering candidates, that adjectives like younger or older are pretty discriminatory, and I know they flow off our tongues very easily, but I think today we have to be mindful of that, and I would say maybe less experience, newer perspective, more experienced. But I just needed to say that, and I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't, so thank you for letting me say that. But this is my, just completing my first year appointed to the Conservation Commission. And as a 32-year resident of the town and recently sort of semi-retired, I wanted to become more involved. And I have to say, Sandy Brock understated her expertise. Without her leadership, we couldn't do our jobs. And I am quite the lay person, but really dedicated to enforcing the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Grafton Wetlands Bylaw, and the Stormwater Management Bylaw, along with our 940 acres of conservation land here in the town. So I've enjoyed my first year. I've been loyally attending and learning as I go. I have a lot more to learn, but I think, again, Sandy has done such an extraordinary job, not just as a leader, but as a mentor and someone you can ask questions. And if you ever sat in on a meeting with her, she's just extraordinary how diplomatic she is and how much one can learn just in one meeting from her. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions?
Just a comment. I think I was the one that used the word younger. I used that intentionally. And I hear your comments, but I'd just like to respond to them.
Sure.
Appointments are something that I've been paying a lot more attention to over the past couple of years. I feel like I've learned a lot of lessons from the process and going through it. One of the things that makes for a good appointment process and thinking about committee membership is diversity. And age is absolutely a legitimate way to think about diversity on boards and committees. It's not meant to be discriminatory in any sense, but having someone who's in a different part of their life with a different perspective on and priorities, especially if you're in charge of a significant amount of funding on behalf of the town, I think is really important. So
I fully understand, and I think there's just other adjectives that can be used. And again, someone who had to enforce CEO policy, it's just in my DNA.
Sure.
And thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it.
And I did also mention, he's fairly new to town, so
Yeah.
he's from
Yep.
a different part of
I got
town.
it.
So
just respecting us, people of a certain age.
Yep. No, absolutely. Yep.
Thank you.
All right. So I have the two appointments for Conservation Commission. If anybody has a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Sandy Brock and Elizabeth Doherty to the Conservation Commission.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Declare the motion carried. All right. If you guys don't mind going down and getting sworn in, that would be wonderful. First up on Constable is Mr. Courier, and due to unforeseen circumstances, he is not going to be able to make it tonight, but I do believe he has signaled he would like to be reappointed. How does the board feel about that? I think we're going to have a couple of these tonight that we're going to be taking case by case. I'm comfortable
I
moving
think we
forward because he did signal to us.
Yeah, we can go with that. I don't know.
Yeah, in this case.
All right. Next up would be Marianne
DeVries.
DeVries. So sorry. Is she on?
Yeah,
Oh,
Marion is on Zoom, and she should be able to talk.
Hi there.
how are you?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, if I am reappointed as a constable for Grafton, it will be my third or fourth year. I've been a long-standing employee for the town of Grafton. Previous to being employed by the police department for the last 25 years, I started at the town clerk's office.
Thank you
So
very
I would like to be considered.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Marianne? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is Cindy Ides. Same thing. She sent a letter signaling she'd be unable to attend tonight, but would like to be reappointed. And is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Great. Next up is John Manzi.
Yeah.
How are you?
To go over there, or
If you don't mind,
can you help me hold these for a second?
or do we have the mic? Or?
We don't.
I can help.
I would say just let him yell from.
Okay, you know what? If it's easier, you can just. All right, we're up.
We're up and.
We should need a mic.
Hold the chair. Someone hold the chair behind them.
Thank you.
Will's getting.
Hold on.
Thank you. I'll be all right. It's all right. I am not Dog the Bounty Hunter. I'll let you know. I know, but I'm a very experienced constable, but I do a lot of work in here, so. I've been a constable in Shrewsbury since the 60s. I'm a constable in the town of Auburn. I've been in here for about 10 years, and I'm a go-through guy as a constable. I know the books. So if something's tough, they call me, evictions, arrests, etc. But I've got a couple of health problems, but I'm coming back. So I've got a bond for the town. I guess it goes back some time when Ken Grew was a selectman. Do you remember Ken Grew?
Yes, I served with him.
You did, okay. And I approached him at that time and told him that, you know, if we can go out and get some business. I've had a couple of evictions here, a couple of things for the town, and some arrests here. But, you know, it's the last year because of COVID, there isn't a lot of court action, but I'm available. I'm advertised in a lawyer's diary, and I just hope I get paid by the lawyers, if you know what I mean. So I have a bond here, and I've been here before, and going back when Kurgan was the chief, you remember him? And Russ.
Yep.
And all the, yeah, I was president of the Southern Mass Police Association. I got 20 years working in the House of Corrections as a reintegration counselor. So I'm dealing with people every day, inside and outside, and the police department will call me all the time to do something, evictions or something, which I'm probably one of 4 or 5, whatever it is, but I slowed down a little, but I'll be back. So,
okay.
Have any questions?
Any questions? Really appreciate you coming in tonight.
Yeah, I live in Shrewsbury. I've been a constable there since the 60s.
We won't hold that against you.
I know that, but I'm very friendly with the Grafton Lions Club. You know the people there?
Sure.
Yes. They're great people, and so thank you very much, and
Thank you.
we'll go from there.
Thanks so much.
Do I have to wait for the appointment, or can I?
You could probably just start heading down to the
Yeah.
town clerk's office.
And I don't carry a gun.
That's comforting.
I now know my next question to ask everybody.
Here goes my banner line.
All right, William Cook?
Cook. It's
Cook. William Cook? 'Cause,
Billy's not
you
here.
know,
I don't
reading's
see him.
hard for me.
Yep, he is on Zoom, and he should be able to talk now.
Okay.
Gotta unmute himself.
Bill, you just need to unmute yourself.
Can you do it for them?
You can just ask to unmute. That's all you can do.
Is he undercover?
Also not sure of the wisdom of unmuting somebody who is not unmuting themselves.
Yeah, you can't do
Could
that.
have
You
some
can just-
unintended consequences.
No, we can just send them the request to unmute themselves.
All right.
Well, he's here.
He is here, and I appreciate him being here. And
There we go.
there we go.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
We can.
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm not technically in with this stuff, but good evening, everyone. I'm William Cook. I was a police officer for 31 years with Grafton. Most of the time, I held a constable position, and I did a lot of postings for the notices that had to go up for the town of services of paperwork. Since I've been retired, I have maintained that constable position and made myself available if anyone needed civil process or postings related to a constable position. And that's basically it. It's just one of the positions I've held over the years between library trustees at Nelson, and I was with the Together We Can committee for quite a few years while I was with the police department, and again, 31 years employee with the town.
Thank you very much for coming in. Does anybody have any questions? No?
Nope.
All right. Well, if that's it, we can take a motion for constable.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Roger Currier, Marianne DeVries, Cynthia Ide, John Manzi, and Bill Cook as constable of the town of Grafton.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Congratulations. Anybody who is here tonight, please head down to the town clerk's office. And
We got
and then up next, we have Council on Aging, William Cutler Jr.
He's not with us via Zoom.
And the other individual is Peter Shea, who signaled to us that they would not be able to attend, but they are interested in being reappointed. So I don't know how the board feels. William is similar to the Robert Collette earlier, where we didn't get anybody reached out to us, and they're not here. So should we skip over William and reach out to him?
So he's not indicated that he wants
He's
to
not
be reappointed?
indicated that I've received.
Not
Then-
that I've received either.
Then I would hold off.
Okay, so we can take a motion for Peter Shea.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Peter Shea to Council on Aging.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. All right, and now we have disability, Laura Deneen.
He's with us on Zoom and can talk.
Hello, Laura.
Hi, good afternoon. Oh, no, it's evening now. Good evening, folks. I wish I was there so you could see what I wore this fun evening so you could judge me.
Wow, this is taking a wrong turn, hasn't it?
We're gonna put a runway in next year.
No kidding. Add a little bit of pizzazz here. Thank you all for letting me be here this evening. I've been on the Disability Commission for a year. I took over when one of our community members stepped down. So I am interested in having a go at it for the next 3 years to really start understanding more and actioning more. I just don't feel that the year was enough for me to really get going within the group. It's a wonderful group with a great people. Looking forward to really, talking about amending our charge of the commission, et cetera. So really just very interested in continuing my possible second term.
Thank you so much. Any questions for Ms. Deneen? All right, thank you. So she's the only candidate for disability tonight, so I can take a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Laura Deneen to the Disability Commission.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Up next is the Grafton Cultural Council. We have Christina Hogarty.
Who is with us on Zoom?
Excellent.
Hi, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, I've been on the Cultural Council for about 3 years, and I'm looking for reappointment to help fund some great things within the town of Grafton. Thank you.
Wonderful. Any questions? Okay, hearing none, I can take a motion.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I move to appoint Christina Hogarty to the Grafton Cultural Council.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. All right, and now we have Grafton Historic District Commission, Brad Shiplack. Did I say that right?
Is that how you say that?
No, but where I'm going tonight. Apologize.
Schlapak. Brad Schlapak, seeking reappointment for Historic District Commission. I have been on the commission for either 6 or 8 years, I don't remember. And I live right off of the Common, and I care about the historic integrity of the Common, and I do volunteer work for the Willard Clock House once in a while. I wind the clock at the Congregational Church every week, and I just restored the clock in the historic reading room in the library, and that's about it.
Very cool. Any questions? Well, thank you very much for coming in. Sorry about the name. I'll get better at that next time. All right, I can take a motion.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I move to appoint Brad Schlapak to the Grafton Historic District Commission.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. All right, so if you head right down to the town clerk's office, they'll swear you right in. Grafton Historical Commission, we have Donald Clark.
Hi, my name is Don Clark. I've been on the Historical Commission for about 6 years. I I'd like to be reappointed because I'd like to finish up the restoration of the 1848 weights and measure scale that's sitting down in the corridor in the hall. The only thing we have left to do is to move it into the library, which we're working on. And I'd like to see that completed. So I would like reappointment.
Very nice. That project is coming out really nice.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Any questions? Thank you very much for coming in tonight. Hearing none, I can take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Donald Clark to the Grafton Historical Commission.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Next is the IT committee. We have Mr. Hassinger again. If he's still with us.
He is.
Wonderful.
Here we go.
Hey, Bob.
Hi. Again, I didn't prepare anything. And again, I prefer to say we rather than I. However, I've been on the IT committee, I think from the beginning. And I think I even lobbied the town administrator at that time that we should do that. I think particularly in recent times, the committee has really gotten an opportunity to help a lot. I think we have a wide range of skills and abilities and interests across the committee. And I think I'm one of the ones that brings some knowledge about the town and the website and everything that goes on in that building you're in. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? No? All right. And thanks for coming in again, Bob. And up next we have Mr. Dave Robbins.
So I'm going to stand if you don't mind. I spend entirely too much time sitting. Also, my fashion statement leaves a little bit to be desired, and Sue reminded me at the last minute I had to be here. So, although I'd never try to compete with Bob DeToma for fashion-wise.
It's tough.
You're not going to see it. But anyway, I've been on the IT committee for about 15 years. I joined that committee, I think it was just a few months after it was formed. I've been chair of that committee for about the last 7 years. Obviously, I'm interested in continuing to work on the committee. We've got some good stuff coming up, on the plate. We've done a lot of interesting things lately. There's a lot of good stuff that we're planning on doing IT-wise, and I want to be a part of that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Robbins?
I just want to thank you for your expertise with our clickers. It's invaluable this week.
That manual is something else too. I'm not gonna. All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you. All right. I can take a motion for IT committee.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Bob Hassinger and David Robbins to the Information Technology Committee.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Congratulations. Now we have Register of Voters, Daniel Fitzgerald. All right.
Hello, my name is Daniel Fitzgerald. I live in Grafton. I've lived in Grafton for just over 20 years. I would like to be reappointed as a Registrar of Voters. I was first appointed this past April of 2022, so I currently have only 3 months' experience. My interest in this position was rooted in my generalist interest in political science. I received my BA in History from UMass Amherst in 1987 and my Master's in Criminal Justice from Anna Maria College in 1996. In 2020, I was employed as a U.S. Census enumerator. Part of my interest, or where I thought this might be a good fit for my step into Grafton politics, was growing concerns regarding election integrity and free and fair elections across the United States. I believe that all eligible voters should be able to vote in our elections. All votes should be tabulated honestly through a fair and open process that should be uncompromised by fraud or counting errors. Many questions?
Yeah. Any more questions?
You are a happy guy.
I really am. It is true. I'm pretty happy about it. Good life.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming in.
Absolutely.
And we can take a motion.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I move to appoint Daniel, Mr. Happy Fitzgerald, Register of Voters.
I'll happily second that motion.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Just head right down to the
Very
town
happy.
clerk's office.
Thank you, Dan. Happy to serve.
Okay, next is the Veterans Advisory Committee. We have Mr. Choma again.
I just want to thank Mr. Robbins for his kind words. I'm a member of the Veterans Advisory Committee and have been so for the last year. And I can't think of anything I would like to do more. I served with a bunch of great guys, and I think that it's a privilege to serve with them. I should get paid just for working with him. But I would clearly...
People in the audience can't see who you're pointing to.
It's okay. I think they'll figure it out pretty soon. So yes, I would enthusiastically like to be reappointed.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Choma? All right. Come back on up if you'd like. Or you can just stay there and say you want to be on.
I want to be on TV.
I know you do. Yeah.
Thank you. My name is Jim Gallagher, and I am actually a 50-year veteran this January, which is incredible for someone who's 39. But I've been on this committee since the start, which was last year, 1 year, serving with people like Bob DeToma. Bob DeToma and Chris Roney are never seen often in the same room because he buys his shirts from Chris. There's no back to them. So go figure. That's why he always looks so nice. But and I meant to mention before for the cable thing is that one of the great shows we did, and I go back to the 80s.
This is the Veterans Advisory Committee, you know that.
Was with Ray Mead, Captain Ray Mead, in his uniform, in his incredibly red head. He was just so psyched to be on TV. But we did all those fire safety shows, right?
And they're all
October.
gone. And they're all gone.
And they're still there. No, they're still there. But anyway, yeah, and but for the veterans thing, obviously I have a very sincere wish to come back to this board because I think we've had great support from like Evan and the entire consort in this building. And there's so much that we can do, and we're just so young. I hate to use that word young, especially being 39, but there's so much that we can do, and the people that are there, again, like Bob said, I'm so proud to be with them. They're just really good, solid people, and would like to get some good, solid women on there too, and that would be wonderful because there's a lot of women veterans out there, and we could use their expertise and their perspective. So if any of out there who were serving, come with us and we'll all serve together. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Thank you.
I'm pretty comfortable though, right?
That's yeah.
No, you can stay there, Jim. Don't worry.
Okay.
You want anything else? Should we just talk it now? Nope. All right.
Oh, we can. I can just do the Jim Gallagher show. I want to thank the select
That's during
board for
public
being
comment,
with us
so we'll
tonight.
have to cut that short.
All right. All right. Here.
And you wonder why our meetings go long.
That's it.
Sean McAvery.
I gotta follow that?
Unfortunately, I'm sorry.
Thought Jim was talking for all.
He usually is.
Oh. Hi, good evening. Again, thanks for having us here. I didn't realize we were supposed to be speaking, so I didn't prepare any notes. But I think Jim pretty much said it all. That we are new, relatively speaking, and like I said, there's a lot of things that we want to do. There's a lot of people we want to reach out to, if we can help them, navigate the system being the VA or anything, so to speak, that they might have issues with. So that's why we're here, and that's what we're trying to do. And why do I want to be there? Well, because, like Jim said, I served. I want to continue to serve again. And there's two things. It's the most fun committee I've ever been on, and it's the best dressed committee, especially when we're in uniform.
I imagine, yes.
So that's it.
nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
I have, oh, man, do you know how to say it? Cause I don't wanna.
Lucas Remillard.
No.
Nope, right
Nope.
before that, Edward Pike.
He let me know
he is
not running for renomination.
Oh, great. So sorry to lose him. Lucas Remillard.
Not great that he's not running.
Not great
No,
that he's not right. Not,
no,
so that I
she
didn't
doesn't
have
have to
slaughter
pronounce
his
it to
name.
pronounce
That
his
is,
name.
that was great. So sorry, Edward. Letter of thanks.
We'll get one, trust me.
Hello, Lucas.
Oh, yeah,
Hello,
we'll get
man.
something.
So I've been in the Army 19 years, re-enlisted for another 6, so I'll be getting like 25 years in. I also work at the Department of Veteran Affairs as a civilian, and I've been working on the Veteran Advisory Board for a year with some pretty amazing guys. We even got a guy who served with George Washington, which is pretty cool.
I recommended the guy that did his teeth.
So, and I like being on the board because I kind of represent kind of the OIF, OEF veteran group. Only being 36, so I'm pretty young.
Newer perspective.
Newer perspective. Yes. Yeah. So, and I'm a combat veteran, served in Iraq, 1 tour.
Thank you for that.
Yes, thank you. All right, does anybody have any questions? No? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And then we have Justin Stone.
Oh, you butchered my name.
I'm so sorry. Justin Boulder.
It's spelled R-O-C-K.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. For the last year, I've been the chair of the Veterans Advisory Committee, and working with Jim, Sean, Lucas, and Bob has been a blast. As I said, we've only been here for a year, but during that time, we've managed to get our feet under us. We even found time during the winter to do a small coat drive, and we have a whole list of other things that we want to knock out of the park going forward. So asking for a renomination so I can see that through. Plus, if I'm not renominated, then Jim becomes chair and nobody wants to
Nobody
see
wants
that. Kind of stuck.
There goes the country.
Awesome. Any questions for Justin? All right, thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, and since these are all uncontested, I can just take a motion?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Robert DeToma, James Gallagher, Sean McAvee, Lucas Remillard, Justin Stone to the Veterans Advisory Committee, and very proud to do so.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
Just one quick thing. You guys are fairly new. If there's anything, I heard commentary that you're being well supported by staff. If there's anything the select board can do to support you guys, please let us know.
I've got that on tape now, so.
You can hold me to it.
I think we are gonna try to add a line item to the budget for next year to get them some funding, whether it's 5 or 10,000.
Fantastic.
Just to support their mission.
Good. Excellent.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Awesome. If you guys can head down to the town clerk's office, that would be wonderful. And now we have zoning board of appeals. We have William McCusker.
He's with us via Zoom.
Now he decides to leave us. No, I'm here for
So, good evening. Can you hear me all right?
We can.
Excellent. So, I want to change my application from the Zoning Board of Appeals to the Veterans Advisory Committee because those guys are having a boatload of fun. So, can we just do that right now? And yeah, but seriously, thank you for the opportunity to speak and for consideration to be reappointed to the Zoning Board of Appeals. As I think some of you know, I have over 20 years experience on the ZBA. Very intimate knowledge of Chapter 40A. I know that the select board tends to get involved with ZBA for 40Bs, but our main line of work is Chapter 40A. Very intimate knowledge of 40A and probably more important, 48 case law. But I do have extensive experience with 40Bs, seen through 10 40B applications here in Grafton, 8 of which have gone to construction or about to go to construction. So very, very extensive experience with 40Bs as well. I think that, through the years, we've made some improvements to the way the ZBA does business, to the way we interact with members of the town and citizens, applicants. I think we've been doing a great job, and I'd like to continue to serve and do my best for the town of Grafton when it comes to these issues. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. McCusker? No. Nope. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And the last person up is Mr. Peter Adams, who did reach out last week that he would not be able to make it tonight, but is still interested in being reappointed as an alternate. So if the board's okay with that, we can take a motion for those two.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I move to appoint Bill McCusker and Peter Adams to the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Congratulations, everybody. Up next is the Arpa appointment. So we have two interested candidates for that. If we could have Jim Erskine. So sorry. I am the worst.
Like that he pronounced it maybe
Well, I guess
still.
Yeah, yep, and then I still didn't.
I guess I could have gone home and put my jeans on, but that's okay. Well, thanks. 2 minutes. It just kind of caught my eye. It's a lot of money that's coming, to Grafton. Got a business background. I ran my own company for 15 years, medical devices. So ran a budget, and understand a financial spreadsheet and all that kind of good stuff. Since then, I've been on the corporate side, but maybe most importantly is been a resident of Grafton for 26 years, raised my family here, my wife, and my 2 sons. And I think Grafton's a special town. I think we're all very lucky to be here. I think getting the extra chunk of money, it's kind of like, the town getting like a personal bonus. It's like, okay, how do we do this? Are we going to spend it on something that kind of maybe gets us out of some situation we're in now? Do we look to the future? Whatever. I have absolutely no pet project in this. I have no idea what, any of the particulars are. But, hopefully a fresh set of eyes on this would be helpful. I'd like to think that over the course of my work career, I helped build consensus in all the companies I've been with, and I would look forward to doing that if I'm fortunate enough to be selected to the committee.
All right.
Questions?
Any questions? I have one. Did you take the online survey when the Arpa committee put it out?
I did not. I didn't see it. My apologies.
Nope.
I did not see it.
All right. I'm curious. That's
No.
the only reason I ask.
But I'd be curious to, they haven't posted those results yet, though, have they? Or
I know they've reviewed it, but it's not public. No.
No, we just got the cleaned up spreadsheet, I think, yesterday.
Nice.
yeah, obviously, be like more than curious to see what the results were and what direction folks are looking to go to.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you.
All right, up next we have Mr. Richard Whitney. Nailed it.
You got that one down cold.
Well, that one's not a.
Were you gonna say it's not hard?
No.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
That's all right. I beat Bob's suit. I got new sneakers because I'm running. I'm Richard Whitney. Y'all know me. I want to be on this committee if it's possible. I thank you for taking my application. I do know a little bit of what's going on in with the things of the 700 surveys, and I did take mine. And let me see what else. We do have a consultant that is working with you people right now, and I'm looking at Anne Marie for the reason is I know you're the person that's on the committee. And then I heard last week when I was watching from home about the pickleball, and I thought that was very nice. But I am out running my business, and I'm talking to people every day, and they're giving me ideas and all that. Being on the CPC, I'm there helping out people give money out and to bring things to the town meeting. So this is just the reverse of looking to see what we can do better off in the town of this 2.5 million that we have, and knowing that there's a lot of things that we can do, and what is the list that everybody has sent in, and going over it and, you know, and with the consultant and make our decisions. I mean, that's about the best I can tell you right now. And I hope that's can answer any of your questions.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so if the committee doesn't have any questions, I can take a motion.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
I move to appoint Rich Whitney and Jim Erskine to the,
there's only one. open.
there's only one?
There's only
I
one.
thought it was two.
No, this is when we
Don't let me do this again.
No, yep, we'll stop you mid-motion. When we reorganized, Anne Marie became our select board rep, and she had been a member at large, so that opened up one member at large seat. So now we need to pick between these very qualified candidates, which
Okay, well, I'm not gonna
doesn't
make
seem
that
easy. Yeah.
I'm not gonna
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll motion that we nominate Jim Erskine to the ARPA committee. And
Second.
this is my thinking.
Hold on. Motion made. Second.
Yep.
Discussion.
Okay. So I really appreciate the work that you do, Rich. I think this is an opportunity for us to open up participation in prioritizing and spending one-time money to, again, kind of back to the general community flavor that I had with CPC. As much of that as we can do, I think we should be encouraging for lots of reasons. But that's my basic reasoning, is I think they'll both do a fine job. This is an opportunity for us to bring somebody in who isn't sort of plugged into maybe as deeply some of the comings and goings of Grafton's municipality and whatnot. So just, I think a good general community perspective would be really helpful on ARPA. Since these funds are such sort of broadly available to spend for different things, this is a, I think, good opportunity for public input, and this is a good way to do it.
All right. Does anybody else have any other comments? No. All right. I will say that I do agree. I like the idea of getting new members whenever we can. And, you know, Rich, I do appreciate you coming out tonight. You do serve well on all the other committees you're on, so I know. Yeah, yeah.
Somebody from town that wants to
I think they're the only ones that are allowed to try. So.
No, but I am happy that there's more people that want to get involved, and that was my biggest thing running as a select board, is I want more people to come to these meetings, I want them to get on to these commissions, committees, and everything else. So, if you wanna vote this gentleman in, it's no problem with me. I'm more than happy to, and if anything, hey, I just go on to something else, that's all.
Don't doubt you will. All right.
No hard
So.
feelings, guys. I like this. I like this gentleman wants to do this.
Perfect. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, declare the motion carried. All right, congratulations, Jim. So if you want to head right down to the town clerk's office, they can swear you right in, and I think they're going to be meeting sometime next month. Up next is the town administrator appointments.
Do you have the list up?
So we have the assistant town administrator and then the annual appointments for.
Sorry. I didn't know if you were going right into the annual appointments. So the first request I have is to appoint William Blake as the assistant town administrator beginning July 1st.
Great.
If you recall, we discussed this all throughout the budget process, both at the select board level and at the finance committee, that this was going to be the move we were going to make come July.
Absolutely, congratulations.
He hasn't got the job yet.
You still want to do this though?
I do,
All right.
unequivocally.
Okay, perfect. All right.
You'll get over that.
Yeah. Any
Give it time, but for now I'm still excited.
I still don't have his phone number, that's why. Any discussion? All right.
We didn't
I
make
can
a
take-
motion.
Well,
Well,
I'll
just,
take a motion.
yeah, I guess I had a couple of residents reach out with some questions about the process and all that, and I guess I just wanted to state publicly that William is one of the most sort of passionate, well-educated people that I know that are really excited about municipal government, which is not something that you run across too often. So, you know, everything that I've seen from William has been fantastic. So I'm in full support of it.
And he's a snappy dresser.
And he's a great dresser.
I mean, we know he's doing most of the work now anyway.
Right, right.
Okay.
I'm out.
Okay, so I will take a motion.
Sure. I move the board vote to affirm the appointment of William Blake as Assistant Town Administrator.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Congratulations in a couple days.
Thank you.
Congrats, Will.
And then we have the annual appointments.
Yep. Do you want me to read them off? Or do you want, were you gonna do it? What, how do you want to do that?
I mean, they're your appointments if you want to read them real quick or.
Sure. So I have, to the Board of Assessors for a 3-year term, Ken Grew. Board of Sewer Commissioners for a 3-year term, Brooke Pageant. Keeper of the Lockup, 1 term, Police Chief Norman A. Crapo Jr. Recreation Commission, Stephen Crowley. And the Traffic Safety Commission Committee, for a 1-year term, John Bouchard, Paul Canoyer, Chief Crapo, Daniel
Pogozowski.
Yep. John Rail, Scott Rosadier, and the Zerk, Brian Zerko.
I wasn't sure if you're looking for help or not.
No, I was just fumbling my way through it.
Yeah. I set the bar, so
Yeah.
he's just
It's really
trying to make me feel
Just stumbling over it.
It's really low.
I do have one question about the Traffic Safety Committee.
Yeah.
Is that something we should look into increasing how long they serve? Is it 1 year
I think
term?
so. Yeah, it's an odd term limit.
Okay, so we'll try
Yeah.
to bring that back.
We did discuss it briefly, but
Okay. All right, so I can do this all in one motion, I think, if you.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Have it.
Go ahead.
I move the board vote to affirm the annual appointments of the town administrator as presented.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. All right. So the first thing up on new business is the intermunicipal agreement with the City of Worcester Division of Public Health.
Yep. So this is the IMA that we've entered into annually with Worcester, and it was already pushed through the budget process through the Finance Committee and has been budgeted by town meeting. So now all that's left is for the Select Board to vote to approve the contract as written.
Okay. Any questions? All right, I can take a motion.
I move the board vote to approve the contract as written.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. Up next is the Chapter 61B Notice of Intent for 173 and 183 Upton Street, and this is just an initial discussion because we have received some correspondence from various committees. Did you want to talk about that at all, or?
I can. So I believe that you have 4 committees that have submitted correspondence, all in favor of purchasing the property in one manner of another or another. I think that 3 committees have discussed purchasing it outright, and 1 committee has discussed purchasing it and carving off some frontage along the road for some affordable housing.
Okay.
When's
So
the
we-
120 days up? That's a great question. Let me pull that up for you, Ray.
Okay.
Sorry, that came, the 4 proposals were, or not proposals, but those communications came through via email or?
Yes.
I don't know if I saw 4.
I haven't seen
know I
4.
saw CPC and I know I saw conservation.
I thought we had assessors as well.
I've only seen 2.
Yeah, I've only seen 2.
And you haven't seen planning?
No.
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 Okay. Okay. I will have to go back and repackage that for you.
Did this go to the Affordable Housing Trust?
It did not.
Okay.
Okay.
I'd like it to.
If the board would like it to go there, then that's what we'll do. Only because the statute does not say Affordable Housing Trust, so the board needs to direct us to do that.
Sure. Yeah. Just
Yeah.
as the.
Yep.
Should we take
Yeah.
a motion for that, or?
I would.
Okay. So I can.
So I make a motion that the board send along the notice of intent of 173 and 183 Upton Street to the Affordable Housing Trust for a recommendation.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion?
And just to, so for my information, the statute indicates it needs to go to how many different?
3. So it's the assessors, planning board, and conservation commission.
Okay. But we usually hear from like other people, like we've heard from CBC or the Grafton Land Trust, they weigh in too.
Sure.
And we did get a
I just
letter
wanted to know.
from CPC.
We definitely go from CPC and conservation, because I know I saw those too.
It looks, not Paul, what's your name? William?
William.
Just pulled them up, and a couple of them only came to William and I, which was a oversight on our part. We thought that they had gone to, been sent to the select board email, so we'll correct that.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Declare the motion carried for sending it to the Affordable Housing Trust, and we'll just continue this conversation. Did we figure out when the 120 days was?
No, I'm looking it up now.
All right.
I,
As
I
long as
will.
we have-
I will get it for you, but if I don't know that you need it for, you can
No,
move
I was
on
just
to another item, and I'll get it.
I
for
was
you.
just
Great.
yeah.
I don't know, Jim, sorry.
So next is request to waive permitting fees for the Grafton Housing Authority. We have Mr. Gallagher again.
While I'm getting up there, the CPC does have funding for that, and we were quite enthusiastic about supporting that, and then having someone make a motion and bring that forward to town meeting. It's a great opportunity for the town. The reason that I had asked to come in here is that I'm here with my Grafton Housing Authority hat on now, and we have some roofing that needs to be done that we've gone out to bid. We've done all of the things. They wouldn't let me do it myself, something about insurance. And we had to get real roofers. But the real roofers went out and had to get permits. I was here a couple of years ago requesting a waiver on some permits, and no one can seem to remember if you folks had waived the fee on those permits or any permits for the housing authority, given that it's the state-owned property, we're the landlords and so forth. So what I'm looking to do is to satisfy the lovely and talented Bob Berger, and let him know that that those fees would be waived.
Okay. Any?
Bob did reach out and say that he was in support of that as well.
Yep. And he was the one that told me I needed to come in and ask you. So I do whatever Bob Berger says. He's a very scary guy.
How can we make this more permanent so it's easy to find next time? And nobody questions.
Well, they have to request every time. So.
Well, they have to request, but know that we'll waive it so they don't get held up. And
Well, here's the thing. And hang on a second. So, we're going to waive a fee for the Grafton Housing Authority for a roof. We're not going to have a carte blanche if they build a $5 million building. So, there's a little difference there. So, I think these need to be taken as individual, waivers for the permitting fees.
See, Ray just wants to get me in here more, that's all.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
But,
You want to go back to the
I'm just saying.
Grafton
I don't
update
wanna,
with
I don't want this to be a. I don't want this to be a.
Carte blanche.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't want a universal policy that
Right.
says you'll waive everything from the housing authority, because you don't know what is gonna come down the pike. So in this case, the roof, pretty limited inspections by us anyways, so, I think it makes sense to do that. There might be something that comes down that is way more involved that we need to recoup some of the staff time.
Okay.
So, you could consider a policy that talks about how to request a waiver if you're a state organization, a nonprofit, or so on and so forth, just so that they have to come back.
Would that be simpler, or is that just too much lift right now with everything going on?
Oh, we're not gonna do it right now.
No, but in like the next year.
Oh, yeah. Assistant town administrators all over that.
Okay.
I think for what it's worth, there's value in coming in each time, and we can assess the project, and
Exactly.
don't want to set precedent necessarily that, we're carte blanche, just, waiving fees. We talked about this recently with another project.
And someone is going to explain to Ray what carte blanche means, right?
It's 3 projects tonight that we're
Yeah.
waiving tonight, right? Okay.
It's a dessert, isn't it?
Gonna separate you two. All right. So if there's no more questions, I can take.
All right, I gotta go get sworn in. Thank you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you for all the great work you do. All kidding aside, it's a committee like this that makes people want to volunteer and work on other committees. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Jim.
I move the board waive permitting fees for the roofing project for the Grafton Housing Authority.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. All right, we have,
Madam Chair,
yes.
September 9th is the 120 days.
Okay, we get a lot of.
September 9th.
Okay. So we can bring that back in a couple weeks once we hear back, maybe give the trust a chance to tackle it. Okay.
Yep.
All right, now we have Andy Jefferson's resolution.
Yes, ma'am. So as we discussed last week, I went back and did some revisions to what I had initially outlined, toned back some of the language and some of the directive, and then resubmitted it to the group. Mr. Mead also submitted a new copy for everyone's review as well. There, as far as I can tell, there's very little difference between the two. There are a couple lines that have been removed, couple words changed, but they're both very similar.
Yeah, I'd agree. They looked pretty similar when I was going through them. All right. Any discussion?
Well, they're similar. They're not they're not similar. There's, you know.
How so, Ray?
There's. I mean, in yours, you say the Grafton Select Board promised too, and I don't say that in mine. You know, I looked at this as a more of a community, community issue, and that's how I wrote it. You know, that the Grafton Board of Selectmen is not promising to do anything.
Where's the promise?
It's on
Under the
Andy's.
second paragraph.
on
Now
Andy's.
therefore,
Oh,
be
I see. All
expressed.
right. Sorry. I did my best.
Yeah,
We just
this-
got this tonight. So, this is like the difficulty with trying to parse language in an open meeting.
Right.
Okay. I got that. So, I lean more towards Andy's. I don't mind saying we promise to condemn and stand against racism. I'm fine with that. The other thing that Andy had, it was just a comment that great social change requires leadership and an ongoing organization-wide commitment in order to succeed. I believe that's true, and I'm happy to sort of stand by that. I was with Ray in terms of cutting the quote from Dr. Martin Luther King, although it's a wonderful quote. These are our words, and I think we should say the things that we want to say. The only other thing that I had for myself was just I struggled a little bit with the last paragraph. I'm glad we took the must out. But I do think it's important as we address other elected or appointed officials in the right way. So Andy has us saying we should engage, Ray's inviting them or encouraging them. The words that sort of spoke to me is that we would call on elected and appointed officials to join us in engaging in the rest of it.
Which I think to that end, I feel that Ray's last paragraph summarizes your intention better than Andy's, the way it's reading to me. Just with the words, deleting the words submit and condemn and then removing the quote.
Yeah, I mean, in order to move this forward, I'm happy to. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with either. So I would be happy with that. Going with Ray's final paragraph.
I'm right with you with call, though. I actually had it crossed out and written the word call, because that's what spoke to me as well. So for
Okay.
everybody's, I mean, how does everybody feel about changing encourage to call?
Courage to what?
Call. Further, we do hereby call elected and appointed officials in our community instead of encourage. We're calling it.
Call on.
What does that mean? Call on.
What we're calling on.
Call on. Oh, okay. I didn't hear the on part. I just
Probably
heard
didn't say it.
Call and I.
A little sloppy tonight, sir. And then I like condemn and stand, but if majority of the board is not in support of that, then, because I don't see anywhere where you're not condemning it. If you're coming across racism, it should be condemned. You can say something. See something, say something. If you can, you know?
I'm fine with condemn. My main issue with this was the places of worship, saying people must, sort of that last paragraph was really pretty much it for me. So I'm fine with condemn.
Okay. How does everybody else feel?
I'm not.
You're not okay with condemn?
Nope.
Do you want to expand on that?
No, I like it, you know, I like mine.
That's fair.
You know, it's a stand against racism, discrimination, and hatred. And, you know, I just, you know, I brought this up the last time, that we don't want to be police here. And we don't want people, you know, sending us letters saying that this person is that and that person or this group is that. We've already had that at this meeting. We've already had that.
Yep.
I don't want that, because that is one person's or one group's opinion of people with no proof. And I don't want that.
I think whether we do this or not, it's not going to stop that, though.
It may not stop it. But the other thing is this document, and if you look in mine, it says there now therefore, we the Grafton Board of Selectmen of 2022.
Yeah, I wanted to remove that.
Well, if, and I'm just gonna say that, if new people get on this board, this means nothing. Because if you don't vote on it every year, it means nothing. So that's why I wrote in there, the Grafton Board of Selectmen 2022. Because next year, in future years, when we have new people or we get new people, we can vote on this every single year.
I actually like that.
And not have, because once this board's broken up, this means nothing. It really does.
So I like the idea of renewing this on a yearly basis. And I'm fine with that piece. I don't think, though, that your statement that if we vote this tonight would saying just the Grafton Select Board that it doesn't have meaning. I think it absolutely does. But I do like the idea of renewing this.
No, it has meaning, Matt. I didn't mean to say it.
No,
And if
I know
that's
what
the way you
you're
took it, but if I get off the board in 6 months, this document is moot, whatever it is. It doesn't mean anything.
So to me, the purpose of this is it's not a policy.
Yes.
Right.
Right. So this is
Non-binding.
this is a resolution.
Yes.
Right.
But I think to your point, Ray, these are our words as a board. So to say these are the words of the 2022 Select Board as elected, I'm fine with that. I would like to see it renewed every year. Because they may want to change words. Because
right.
The thinking on racism and white supremacy and it evolves. It's not going to be static. So for me, I'm fine with the Select Board of 2022. So, Madam Chair, how would you like to work through?
Just if I can have a comment, I do prefer Ray's overall statement for a number of, the select board promising. I wanted to delete that word. The select board of 2022, I agree. And just in particular, the last two paragraphs, certainly I preferred of Ray's. Overall, the gist of it, I thought was better in Ray's.
Okay.
So I guess I don't understand why we would have an issue with the word promise. If we're making the proclamation that we're doing these things, isn't that in itself a promise? I would also follow up with some additional feedback that I like the inclusion of the Grafton Select Board of 2022 and the definition that it was coming from this group and that we own it. But I'm feeling a little disappointed in the fact that these are very close and Mr. Mead seems unwilling to compromise on one word an effort to keep it closer to what he has. You know, if passing Ray's version is what's gonna get this through and get this done, then I will happily support it. But I think in the interest of some flexibility and compromise, I don't think we're asking too much to keep that in.
Well, but here's the thing, Andy. If you don't agree with it, don't happily support it. Okay? We have 5 votes here. And I'm looking at this and I'm saying, you did this one, and I did this one.
Right.
And we have other comments on this, and that we should take it back and redo or change things or alter this so that we're not sitting here voting on something like Colleen said, you know, further we do hereby call on elected and appointed officials. Let's get a document in front of us that everybody agrees on. Because if I don't agree on it, and I'm just telling you this, if I don't agree on it, I'm not gonna support it and I'm gonna vote no. I'm not gonna support it just because 4 other people vote for it.
I'm not asking you to do that.
I don't do that. But I don't want you to do it either. That's what I'm saying. I don't want you to do it either.
I think the importance here is that, you know, the resolution gets passed, and if we're hung up on that one word, then that's my point, is I don't have a problem conceding that one word. But if, I think it's all, as you said, moot, if we're gonna come back next week and condemn still lies in there, and, you know, you're against it based on that one phrase.
And looking at them now, Andy, I mean, you struck a lot of words. You didn't change any words, right? So
No, there were, I mean, not drastically changed, but
so
there were
like
a
any
couple
words in
that were
black are pretty much the same as they were. I just went through it.
Yep.
I don't see any changes so you struck things, but there were no changes in the actual verbiage.
Some of them were reworked, including
Like, and destruction of community.
Right. Some were taken from the initial bullets and redistributed or tacked on to additional thoughts, or like down at the end, must became should. It was more combining, I guess, than straight up replacement. But there were some swaps.
So I'm hearing there's 3 areas where we're all at least jumping out, where it's Select Board of 2022, that was mentioned, but majority of everybody's excited to keep that, and because of how it's explained now, that will come back every year. So we can check that off as we keep it there, but would like to include promise has been discussed, and then call on versus encourage, and then condemn and stand versus stand. So those are the 3 areas that are jumping out to me that we've discussed. Are there any other areas that is jumping out to anyone else? Because I think we can just put this bed tonight if it's just those 3.
I'd like to put this bed tonight.
Okay.
Even if we don't
So-
have unanimous vote, I think it's important for us to just move on.
All right, so with those 3, the 2022, I think everyone was pretty much in agreement that stays, because it's now been explained what that means. As far as adding the word promise, that we promise to stand against racism and discrimination, I guess I'm just going to do straw poll. So, Anne-Marie, how do you feel about promise?
I was referring promise under Andy's guise, so that wasn't in Ray's iteration. So Andy says, now therefore we, the Grafton Select Board, promise to condemn and stand against racism. If you're putting promise over into Ray's, it reads quite a bit different, right?
Right,
We're
yep.
not promising to condemn. We are promising to stand against racism. Is that what you're proposing?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's a good point. I'm starting with raise because it's the 2022. So if we're keeping the 22 and add promise to raise, are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, Andy?
Sure.
Are you okay with that, Matt?
Yes.
Are you okay with that, Ray?
Yep.
Okay. And then the third and final, or the next one was to change from encourage on raise to call on. Anne Marie, are you okay with that?
So where is that?
Further, we do
last
hereby call on elected and appointed officials versus encourage.
Sure.
Okay, Andy.
Yes.
Matt.
Yep.
Ray.
Yep.
Great. And then the last one was the commitment to condemn and stand, or commitment to stand against. So, Emery, are you okay with condemn and stand, or would you prefer just to stand? Also under further,
Yeah, so now we're back at Andy's and not Ray's.
Well, this is still in raise, but we would add the word condemn and.
So his goes commit community to engage in similar commitments.
To condemn and stand, or commitments to stand?
To stand.
Okay, to stand. Andy?
I'd go condemn.
Okay, I would also like to see condemn and stand. Matt?
Condemn.
Okay, and Ray?
Stand.
Okay, so right there is straw poll. We basically all agreed on everything, and a majority would like to see condemn and stand, so we can take a motion on it that way, and then with those added changes, does anybody else have any discussion that they would like to include on that? Okay, hearing none, I can take a motion.
I'm so not
Please.
quite
Yeah,
sure what we're,
yeah.
So we just went through raise.
Yep.
We went through the changes of where we're gonna include the 2022 with the word promise afterwards.
yeah.
We're going to change further. We do hereby call on
So we're taking raise, as amended during discussion.
as amended during discussion, and the amendments are to include the word promise,
Yeah.
to change encourage to call on, and to include the words commitment to condemn and stand.
So I will make a motion that we, the select board vote to, adopt the resolution, in raise version as amended in discussion.
Second.
Motion made in second. Okay, any more discussion on that?
One more thing, Colleen, sorry. So on the first paragraph, there was another iteration here, but either way, such words and acts are unjust. Are we taking Andy's, or are we, again, working on raise?
Just
Where it's-
raise.
Okay.
Looking
Raise.
straight at raise.
Okay,
But yes.
which is slightly different, okay.
Yes.
There was one other change that I had added to mine. Oh, no, sorry. It does appear in raise as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna keep raise as amended during discussion with those previous amendments called out. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Declare the motion carried. Great. And we'll have something probably for us to sign next week, because we'll have those amendments in there. Next up is a policy update. So Andy's resolution got me digging around in our policies and procedures, and we actually have a policy that was adopted several years ago, harassment of individuals in protected classes, and it really lays out, what defines harassment, what you're supposed to do in that, but it is quite outdated and it does need some revision. But this is the policy that would have teeth. And I went so far as to get the notes from, or the minutes from this meeting in 2005 from the clerk's office to see if there was any heated discussion or debate about any verbiage in this, and at that time there was not. So I wanted to not necessarily take any action on it tonight, but call it to everybody's attention to maybe, if you have any feelings about how you want to see this updated, or if we just want to hand it over to staff to just update, who to report to, and then we, vote on it. So how do you guys feel?
So I just had a couple things. I made a note of, who you report to. Obviously that needs to be updated, for sure. There's this, a comment in there about if you don't feel comfortable, reporting it to the designated person, you should, feel free to talk to your manager, or department head. It doesn't then describe what the department head should do with it, and I think it's important to just, for that department head who gets a complaint or a discussion about, about this type of issue, to give them some guidelines on what they should do then. Are they obligated to report it to the officer? Can they handle it internally? It just, I think it puts the department head in a bit of a difficult situation. I think those were the two main things that sort of jumped out at me.
Okay.
Oh, the other one, the last one was, this doesn't really talk about, like social media at all. And I think.
It would have been a little bit early.
What's that?
So timing wise, it would have been a little bit early for that.
Well, that's the thing though.
Because it says posting or distributing. What does posting mean? In 2005, it probably didn't mean what it carries now in 2022.
No, it did
right?
not.
Yep. So I don't know how to address it, but it seems like some thought about, now that we have social media,
Right.
we didn't back then.
Yeah.
Is this something that we want to address in this policy? It may or may not make sense, but it may, just in reading through this, it became clear to me that this was in a very different technology era, and there may be, there are different ways to harass and bully and intimidate people now. So it might be an opportunity for staff to think about, if there are other policies that are a little bit more up to date, that include some of that language. So, that was it for me.
All right. Is that clear enough direction to
Yeah.
bring this back in a few weeks? Or yeah, because I think this will probably take time so you can find other ones. And
Yep.
Okay. All right. Does any? Yep.
Is there a line, or where is the line with that? It seemed more of a policy for municipal employees, which I know we're technically town employees as elected officials, and so it pertains to us. But is there a line where it's more geared towards your municipal staff than it is for elected appointed?
Yes, but I think that the intent of this is as more of a catch-all, right? It's not adequately addressed in our personnel bylaw. So the board, I would assume back in 2005, wanted to create a more robust document that would be outside of that scope, so that it captures everyone that's within the sphere of the select board. Be my guess of why they did it this way.
But can that clarity be part of the revision so that it's not a guess? We know.
I don't understand.
Well, so for me, where it stemmed from was I haven't gone through and read or been presented with an employee manual or anything like that, you know, or had to sign paperwork that accompanied that, you know, and went along with it. So I assume that's available to me to read somewhere.
Yep.
But I guess if I hadn't seen this or known about that, I wouldn't necessarily know about to look for that paperwork or look for that employee reference material.
Yep, because I think there's two, to your, maybe the point you were making earlier, there's two different tracks, right? So you get on a board or committee or your elected select board, you don't get the welcome packet that the appointed employee gets. So, I mean, I think you folks started talking about that with your rules of procedure, and you've talked about the policy book, handbook. But they're kind of different in this case. So I think that the select board at the time did this to kind of make it more global. But yeah, there's no mechanism currently that says Andy's a select board member, here's the personnel bylaw. I mean, they're all online, but there's nothing that would trigger that for, say, human resources, just because it's never been in place at all. So, I mean, that's something to discuss for sure. I mean, that's not a heavy lift, but I don't think that's been the practice generally. So,
Okay. How does everybody feel about that?
It's fine with me.
Okay.
So we'll take a look at this. I'm assuming most of this is going to change, being from 2005.
I would think so, yeah.
Yep.
You know, your protected classes and harassment definition has changed quite a bit.
Yep.
So, what we'll probably do is take this and send it over to Labor Council and say, this is the gist of what is here. You got anything that somebody else has done that's more modern? And I'm sure that they do. And then we can work off of that instead of starting here as your baseline.
Yeah,
Because
that makes sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to start in 2005.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any other questions or comments on this? Awesome. So we'll bring this back in a few weeks, or whenever it's ready. Next, we have select board reports. Does anybody have any reports?
I volunteered at the Grafton Rise Juneteenth celebration on Sunday. It was, again, seemed well attended. It was well organized. I'd like to just do a tip of the cap to Amar Clark and the Juneteenth celebration subcommittee on Grafton Rise. It was interactive and really knowledgeable. It was good for their kind of inaugural push, I think. Appreciate it.
It's pretty cool art installation they have going
Yes,
on down there.
which again, if you haven't seen it or read about it, will be up through the end of the month, materials permitting. I believe it's also lit up at night. It is something that if you can go check out, I think you should, because it really, you go up there and you wrap the yarn with statements you identify with, and it gives you a good cross section of the people who have visited and some of the beliefs and feelings of the people that you share the town with.
Love to see like a drone photo of it. I think that would be cool. All right, any other select board reports?
Just quickly, so, Andy, I'm sorry I missed you at that. I went to the first couple of hours.
I did
as
the
they were
afternoon shift.
setting up and whatnot. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it quite a bit. It was an opportunity to, I had some really provocative conversations there with people. So it was an opportunity to kind of gather with people that were interested in, in those issues. I wasn't aware before this, but it was funded in part by the Grafton Cultural Council, so that was also kind of a tie into what we do as well. So I thought it was fantastic. I hope to see it kind of grow and evolve over the years, but as like a starting place for celebrating Juneteenth in Grafton, I was really impressed and really happy that we did it. So it was cool.
All right, town administrator reports?
Yeah. Real brief. I've been out for a few days. Here it is, the whole thing. So I just wanted to note that Barb Connolly retires July 6th, but her last day, excuse me, in office is the 23rd, Thursday. So I just want to thank her for her service. She's done a lot of good work with the Council on Aging over the last 15 years, and she leaves a big gap to fill. So that moves us into the gap that we're trying to fill. So we've been actively interviewing. We actually did 4 today. So we've got a total of 8 candidates, 7 now because we just had one back out, which is really good. Really. Everyone has been exemplary and well qualified, so we're in good shape, and I think it's going to be a tough decision to come up with the candidate because we have so many good ones, which is great. I just wanted to put a plug in for the Grafton's the farmers market. I think it's every Wednesday. It's on the end by the senior center. And so that's been very well attended and seems to be going well like it did last year. So I'm very happy about that. If you get a chance to come out. It's a town takeover day at the Woo Sox on the 25th. Game starts, I think that one's
4:05.
4 o'clock. And they'll be playing the Charlotte Knights. And so if you're interested, I would definitely check it out. They're going to be celebrating a Grafton resident. And I believe that the national anthem will be sung by a Grafton resident as well.
Awesome.
Trying to put all that together. So it should be a fun night. And if Grafton has the largest turnout of any town, we get a trophy and special recognition. So everyone should go. I'd like to have that in here. It better be huge. Also, I just wanted to point out there was an announcement that went out regarding Silver Lake. So we did have a problem with our well up there, and so while the well is being fixed, we're not able to serve food and our water service up there. Bathrooms, showers don't work. So I did authorize with Jen portable toilets so that the beach could remain open, but it should be back at the latest by June 27th with full service. So. That's it.
Perfect. All right. Any questions? Okay. Next up is correspondence. Did anybody have anything to say about correspondence? All right. I did just want to mention the IAGB is trying to do their Indian Independence Day celebration again, but it seems a little different than what they've done in the past. So I think I would like to invite them in so they can actually talk to us about it.
Yep.
If everybody's in agreement, we can do that. Do you guys mind reaching out to them and seeing when they're available to come on an agenda?
Nope, we can do that.
Thank you.
Great.
All right, and then resignations were none, but it sounds like through tonight's process there actually are 2. Do you mind making a motion for? Sorry.
I should have listened harder the first time. I move the board vote to accept the resignations of Lisa Kelly from the Cable Oversight Committee and Edward Pikalek from the Veterans Advisory Committee.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Declare the motion carried. And thank you for your service. And now we have public comment. If any, Okay, so we'll go 1, 2.
Good evening. My name is Jeff Warheft. I live at 1 Peters Way, and I'd like to present my concerns about LIP projects. So I'm specifically concerned about the one that's proposed for Pleasant Street, but I'm going to make my comments about LIP projects in general. So one of my concerns, or I guess the biggest concern, is I feel like we're not proactively prepared for this. So what happens is that a developer comes in and they propose it, and then we just move it along in the process. And I'm not hearing how the town has a perspective on where do we want the LIP projects and what type of projects we want. Instead, we take what they give and I guess I'll use the words that were proposed at one point on the slides. We'll come up with a wish list on what we want. But the wish list is really about, we want, I don't know, special lights, or I'll say sidewalks or whatever, but it's not about, is this the right project in the right location and what does this do to the town? And I'll say right up front that obviously I'm more involved in this because my house is right on the corner and it affects me the most. But I'll also say that if I can't do anything to influence this one, I'm hoping that I can influence future ones. And I think especially that if we're in the safe harbor situation now where we don't have to treat it like a 40B project where they just come in and do whatever they want, I'm looking for the select board or some organization in Grafton to have a perspective on them and not just try to negotiate afterwards, but really look at these from the beginning and decide, is this an appropriate project? Do we want this type of change to happen? I've been listening to the meetings for the last few months, and I hear things about decisions made in the past that maybe we're not really happy about now. And in the past, I mean many years ago, and things that had nothing to do with this. And this is an opportunity to look at, is this the right project? Is this what we want to do into a neighborhood? We have a small neighborhood with a lot of houses in it, and now we're going to change it significantly by adding in 104 apartments. I don't know if that's the right thing, and maybe I'm not the only one who should weigh in on this, but there are definitely opinions on this, and I don't know that they're going to get heard because as the LIP project moves through the process, there's no formal way to get the opinion from the people that live in the area, and that means a lot of people won't be heard, and a lot of people are upset. And some of them are almost giving up because they don't know how to express their opinion or where to express it or how it even gets heard by anyone. So that's why I wanted to come to, I think I'll be back again for this, but I wanted to make sure that there's at least awareness that many of us are concerned. And it's not just about this one, it could be anyone. And it's not against LIP projects or against apartments or against whatever. It's really that we're changing the character of a whole neighborhood without really understanding what the change is. And by the time we understand it, it's going to be too late because it'll already be implemented. And I hope we have an opportunity in some way, whether it's this project or future projects, to look at these in a different way and decide where is appropriate to have, I'll call it high density development, and where isn't it appropriate, and what are the parameters that we should put around it. It's kind of an unusual situation where when it's conventional development, there are very specific zoning requirements. With 40B, there's almost nothing because the developer can come in. And here we have an opportunity for a LIP project to put some boundaries around it, but we're not prepared to do that because we don't have anything set up for that. So that's what I came to say tonight.
Appreciate that. Thank you. All right. So the way it feels weird, but the way public comment works, we really can't.
I understand that.
Okay.
I understand that.
Thank you. Mr. Whitney?
Rich Whitney, 13 Gurney Drive. Last week meeting, you were talking about garbage containers and stuff like that. The only thing I emphasize on it, as Evan was saying, yeah, we could probably take $30K and buy a pallet load of them. The only thing I think of is back in the old days when we used to have the piggery over here, they used to come back and take our garbage can and leave another one. But we'd be paying for this. How is, and I just want this food for the thought out there, is how is the low income people and our seniors going to pay for this on a monthly basis? Okay, we have to figure out that It's a great idea. I love it dearly, but we should have some kind of backup system built in here for the seniors that are on fixed incomes and the ones who can't afford it that want to do this. Okay, that's number one. Number two, could I ask you all to please speak into your microphones when you're talking? Because the people in the back, when we're sitting back there, we cannot hear you. We've gone through this many of select boards, when Bruce Benny was up here and then when we did, we couldn't hear you back there.
He's right behind you.
I know
so you
Bruce is right behind me, but it's just, please, they can hear you at home, but we can't hear you back there. And I just asked Dave Robbins if we could put some speakers back there. Maybe we can turn up the volume on your mics. That's all I want. Okay? Thank you very much, and I'm happy what you did tonight.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.
Can I clarify anything or no? That's not appropriate.
Yeah, no, you totally have the opportunity to do that.
So Richard, just so you know, the curbside composting, it's a voluntary program. You can join into it and you don't have to. You pay as you use it. And additionally, in purchasing the pallet of the initial 84, I think the cost will be about $2,500.
Yeah, but
Actually, I know it will be.
it's a great idea. I love it dearly. I think you hit it the nail right on the head. Okay? But I'm just thinking about the elderly that want to do it and can't afford to do it because they got a fixed income.
Well, so given that the number that Evan threw out was much larger than
Right,
the
I
2,500,
understand.
then potentially there might be some subsidies for
Right,
some
but
of those.
we could
And we could chat about it afterwards, maybe. Yeah.
And if there's a committee for that, maybe I'll apply for that and get on it.
I just wanted to clarify just that it was
That's all right.
voluntary.
I
program.
appreciate Anne Marie. I really do. But I just want that to be out there.
Great.
You know, you asked for public comment and I'm
No, that's what public comment is.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you very much and have a good night.
William, is there anyone on Zoom?
There is not.
Wonderful. Okay. And there are no meeting minutes tonight, so I can take a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none. Declare the motion carried. Good night, everybody.